This episode contains discussions of mental health. Listen at your own discretion. It is Tuesday, the 27th of August, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. We're back again with another Daniel Johnston song. This time we're talking about track 12 on Don't Be Scared, which was his second album from 1982. And that song is called I Had Lost My Mind. It's a pretty simple song, a pretty short song. It's less than 2 minutes. There are other versions of it. He did another version of it on his album Is and Always Was, which is slightly different. I haven't listened to it in a while, so I don't remember how it differs musically, but the lyrics are slightly different as well. Today we're talking about the Don't Be Scared version, although I will link the Is and Always Was version down below as well. This version is one of the many ones that kind of caught my attention because when I started listening to Daniel Johnston, I think I mostly just listened to stray songs, and a few things stood out to me here and there, but watching the documentary that I mentioned in the previous episode, The Devil and Daniel Johnston, is what really drew me in, and in that movie there's a little animated sequence of this song, which I will again link below, of course. That animated sequence cuts out the little spoken opening, but that's fine, it's not essential, so you can listen to or view whichever version you want to. I don't think I really need to say much about it. It's such a short song, I think we should just listen to it and talk about it and get it over with. So let's do that now. Short and simple. So, before we talk about the song, I want to talk about a little spoken bit at the start. If you didn't listen to that version, it's fine. But at the start, you hear him on the phone talking to someone, asking them to play drums in his album. And again, just another thing that really encapsulates Daniel as a person. It sounds like a staged phone conversation. And it very well could have been. And it also sounds completely genuine because he says like, oh, will you play drums in the album? It's, oh, yeah, sure. And he's like, all right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. It's so good. I think it's so funny because he's so confused. Like, wait, hold on, right now? I don't have my drum kit on me. Anyway, I enjoy that intro. It's not necessary for the song, but I think it's just a funny thing to hear. Because, I mean, what's really funny about it is that there's no fucking drums in this song. So God knows what that was recorded in service of. It's like a skit on a rap album or something. But yeah, so the main reason I love this song is I love when simple and common phrases or terms are like picked apart like a vulture and just completely pulled apart to see what's going on with it. And this one is built on the phrase, I had lost my mind. So it is built around this idea of losing your mind. We know as a society that to say that someone has lost their mind is to say that they suffer from mental illness, that they are crazy, quote unquote, right? And you don't literally lose your mind, you don't literally lose your brain. You figuratively lose it by losing control of it, I guess, losing your faculties, right? And this song just completely takes it to the logical conclusion of losing your mind being literally not being able to find it. And I just think it's very clever. It really shows, I mean, the way he thought, the way he viewed things, and also his sense of humor, because this song is really funny. It's really dark when you think about it in the context of him as a person, because it's a song about losing his mind, and, you know, he suffered from great mental illness, but also it's really funny. So, let's read the lyrics. I had lost my mind. I lost my head for a while. I was off my rocker, out of line, out of whack. See, I had this tiny crack in my head that slowly spit open and my brains oozed out lying on the sidewalk, and I didn't even know it. Now, it's written on Genius as brains oozed out. Brain apostrophe S, as in brain is oozed out, which makes no sense. I always heard it as brain snoozed out for some reason, which it doesn't make any sense, but it seems like the kind of thing that he would say. But it just being brains oozed out makes sense. Brains plural, right? Makes more sense. Anyway, lost my mind, lost my head, off my rocker, out of line, out of whack. They're all different phrases for this. And then he mentions the tiny crack in his head that slowly split up and his brains oozed out, lying on the sidewalk, and I didn't even know it. So it's talking about the idea of slowly going insane, of losing your mind and not even noticing the warning signs or anything, which again, very sad, very real for him, but told in this silly way of talking about a literal crack in his head and his brain oozing out, you know? And then the second verse, I had lost my mind. Why, I was sitting in the basement when I first realized it was gone. Got in my car, rushed right over to Lost and Found. I said, pardon me, but I seem to have lost my mind. You know, again, just being very flippant about it. I was sitting in the basement when I first realized it was gone is it makes me think of opening lines of Jam by Yahtzee Croshaw. That's like, I woke up to discover that the world had been covered by man-eating jam. I didn't realize right away. Which is a very funny line to me, I think. And it's funny here as well, where he's just like in the basement and he realizes he's lost his mind. It's just kind of a funny, mundane moment, you know? And so he goes to the Lost and Found and tells him he lost his mind. Again, taking us to its logical conclusion, right? She said, well, can you identify it, please? I said, why, sure, it's a cute little booger. About yay big, a little warped from the rain. She said, well then, sir, this must be your brain. I said, thank you, ma'am. I'm always losing that dang thing. I had lost my mind. Like, one would assume that this is supposed to be about going to therapy or going to a mental hospital. I don't think he had been committed at this point. I mean, this is only his second album. But that idea of seeking help, right, is going to Lost and Found and being handed back your brain. But just, again, the way he describes it is so funny. He describes it as a cute little booger, about yay big, a little warped from the rain, which someone in Genius suggests is referring to his own mental illness that's warped his brain, right? Sir, this must be your brain. Thank you, ma'am. I'm always losing that dang thing. The Austin, Texas accent is quite clear in this one. But yeah, I love that so much. Thank you, ma'am. I'm always losing that dang thing. Again, and again, I'm going to keep saying it. It's really sad in context of his life, but it's so funny because he's talking about it so flippantly, you know? He's saying I'm always losing my mind, and that's so sad that he's so used to it. But it's expressed in such a... I guess it just is what makes it so understandable, because it's not necessarily relatable in the sense that, I mean, you know, the average listener wouldn't have suffered through the same problems as Daniel Johnston, but you understand his struggles better because he's expressing them through humor, you know? I don't think I have much else to say about it. It's a very short song. This is going to be a very short episode. I enjoy the atonal piano. That's another thing about him. He had a very melodic brain, and he was not a particularly skilled musician, but he sure did bang those tunes out with enthusiasm. And I prefer his chord organ stuff, but the piano is still very good because he doesn't really go in for like common meter or anything or time signatures. He just kind of sings what makes sense. So the song is just kind of two big verses that go on for as long as they need to go on and rhyme when they need to rhyme, you know? And I enjoyed that. I enjoy that kind of free form flow of his music. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for listening. A short one, but a good one. I will be talking about another one tomorrow, of course. A much longer one and a much more complicated one. Thank you so much for listening. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, tell other people about this show. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
I'm going to Google this for a second here. Don't mind me. I'm just recording a podcast. Yeah, it is the second album. Hold on a second. Genius, are you lying to me about the lyrics again?
You ma'am, I'm always losing that
Jesus
dang
Christ,
thing. I had lost my mind.
Genius, you are lying to me about the lyrics. What the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway. About yay big, a little warp from the rain. She said, why, sir, this must be your brain. I said, thank you, ma'am. I was losing that dang thing. I had lost my mind.